The next panel is on salon service trends, how to build an aesthetic beauty business. We have already spoken extensively about skincare, and now it's time to move on to aesthetic beauty. I would like to invite my first speaker, Ms. Renu Kant, the dynamic founder of Envi Salons, who has led the industry by her example with her discipline, dedication, and passion for the salon business. Thank you so much for joining us today. Renu, please have a seat. My next speaker for today is Ms. Nalini Kalra. She is the General Manager, CVPro India, cosmetologist and esthetician from New York. She has been in the beauty field for over 20 years, working across Tokyo, New York, and Mumbai. She has been in India for several years as the general manager of two sister companies, CVPro India and HFL, heading their personal care and home care divisions in the FMCG space. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nalini. Nalini is also the writer of Aesthetics Handbook for the Aestheticians in New York. Can we have a round of applause for our speakers today? My next speaker is Ms. Leena Khandekar, the founder and director of Lee's Beauty Center and Spa, Lee's International Beauty and Spa Institute, and Lee's Nutra Cosmetics. Leena has successfully completed 20 plus years in the beauty and wellness field. Leena and her team has done more than 4,000 bridal, fashion, editorial makeups in India and abroad. Her expertise are skincare, body care, makeup, beauty and wellness trainings. She works nationally and internationally for trainings and bridal makeup assignments. Lee's International Beauty and Spa Institute is CIDESCO and India government accredited too. Thank you so much for joining us today, Leena. And our final panelist for today is Mr. J.J. Savani, a British hairdresser with Indian roots. He is known as an editorial session stylist, barber, and educator. J.J. Savani's work has been showcased across the globe. Highlights include London Fashion Week, Dubai Lifestyle Expo, and other worldwide salon and hair expos. He is titled as 2022 Top 100 Male Stylists in the World by BTC Worldwide. He is performing on the stage right now and he'll be joining us shortly. So we are starting with our panel on beauty aesthetics and I'm going to join you guys there. All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. This is a very tricky area for salons, beauty aesthetics. It's fairly new and we don't have clear demarcations on what the government policies are, how the medical board views us, etc. So let's throw some light on that. Let's start with your own experience of practicing aesthetic beauty as a service provider or as an educator. Renu, starting with you.
So, beauty is evolving every day. People are becoming more aware of aesthetics. People are ready to try out very quick treatments, very personalized treatments, which we cannot in salon offer as the therapist beauty treatments. So a lot of people, and also with social media, the stigma which was with the aesthetics has gone away. People are ready to experiment. People are ready to take non-invasive treatments like laser. You can take Q switch, microneedling, all at salon level. But yes, it should be under certified professionals, and the market is increasing every day on day.
So when you say certified professional, do you mean only dermatologist?
There should be a certified professional like a dermat supervising the aesthetics.
Okay.
So maybe she may not be doing, but yes, the consultation, the recommendation of the services, the everything should be under her supervision.
Okay.
You know?
Nalini, what would you like to add?
I agree with what Renu is saying, but I'd like to add to that I think times are changing, and what's happening is the lines are blurring between what dermats can do and what salons can do.
Right.
Initially, it was very clear that certain things were out of bounds for a salon, and people would typically go to a dermat for stuff like that. But like she's saying, if you have a dermat supervising the services, now people are a little more open to a salon also offering those services. So I think the lines are blurring. And if you notice, I feel a lot of dermats are even offering facials. So they're also realizing the value in offering that. So I think the lines are blurring, but training is key, I think, to make sure that it's a safe procedure for the client at the end of the day.
Right. So JJ is here, and I would request him to join us on stage. I got that. Okay, coming to you, Leena. So, especially in terms of education, what is it that defines aesthetic beauty in terms of salon business per se?
Basically, first of all, thank you, Kanishka, for inviting. And it's a grand show happening outside. And thank you, viewers. See, when we say that aesthetic, earlier also the earlier panelists have mentioned it was beautician, now aesthetic, and the doctors. So there are 3 stages. So when we say we are doing any kind of aesthetic treatments, for example, laser, nowadays people are asking for it, and many of the salons are offering those kind of services. And when we say education, it has to be a deep education. A person who is doing and treating for to a client has to be a well certified, a well experienced person. I think education is a key to success for this kind of aesthetic business, and each one of us who belongs to this business should promote that strongly.
Right. JJ, you are a hairdresser, barber. So, what got you into aesthetic medicine, aesthetic beauty?
I think aesthetics, the reason why we broke into this was being predominantly in a men's barber shop. We're finding the culture change is now changing. A lot more men are getting your dermal fillers, your Botoxes, etc. But going back to the educational part, like you said, you've got your doctors, you've got your beauticians, you've got your aestheticians, you've got your cosmetologists. What we find where we are is the education is very key, because at the end of the day, we have to make sure everyone's to a set standard, a basic knowledge of anatomy, physiology, cosmetology, because you're playing with skin. It's where online has its pros and cons. It's opened up so much knowledge, possibilities to buy this equipment. And you always hear a lot more about the horror stories where a certain salon's done laser. They've injected Botox fillers and it's gone wrong. It's down to the importance of education. So we're definitely always pushing that.
Right. But what prompted the idea of starting an aesthetic beauty outlet along with your...
It was the demand. It goes hand in hand. So I mainly focus on a lot more male grooming. Although I'm a trained hairdresser, beautician and barber, I've combined the all-in-one package. So I find with the clientele I have, they want an all-in-one solution where they can come in, get a hydrofacial, get a haircut, and get their fillers done.
Okay. So all this is now operating under the same roof.
Exactly. Under the same roof, but obviously making sure all the legislation and guidelines are all in place. So obviously we have a dedicated area for aesthetics, we have a dedicated area for hair, etc.
Right. So before you came in, Renu had mentioned that over here we need a dermat supervisor to look at whatever treatments that are going on. Is it the same back in London for you?
So we have exactly the same. We have different levels. So for you to do injectables, you have to have a pathway course where you have to be able to show you have the basic knowledge in anatomy, physiology, also phlebotomy, taking bloods and administering medication. Or your direct access is if you're an RGN registered medical nurse, then you have the ability to do the course and then inject.
Right.
Anybody can do the course online, but to legally be able to practice and be insured, you have to be meeting those legislations.
Right. Yes, what would you like to add, Nalini? Can we have one more mic here, please?
I think one of the major differences when you compare to the West and India is in the West, you have to be licensed even to be a beautician. In India, that's so far not a requirement. We're working with BWSSC, but I think it's still a long way off and it's optional. It's not that you have to, be licensed. Anybody can decide they want to start cutting hair or doing beauty. So I'm hoping that's changing because the client is changing. The client is far more evolved and far more demanding, right? Sometimes the internet is also not a good thing because it's half-baked knowledge, right? So they think they're hearing all these fancy words, but they're not sure how to translate that into work or stuff like that. So I think, like they said, education is key. And when I came into India a long time ago, around 15, 20 years ago, when you would go and to a salon and get a beauty service, very often the beautician would actually ask the client, "Aapka skin type kya hai?" Because even the beautician could not read the skin type, right? So I think with education, with constant hammering, it's same as what happened with hair color, right? It used to be a hair dye, and now any person knows how to mixing ratio and all that. And I must say, some of the bigger brands have done a fabulous job of educating the hairstylist. So it's the same logic. I think with beauty, you have to keep at it. And the reality is, I would trust anyone with my hair because it's dead matter and it'll grow. But your skin is, you can't experiment. But in India, people would go to anybody for skin. But for hair, they were very particular. But I think that change is happening, hopefully, for the better. I think.
So, what everybody said, I agree. What is happening is aesthetics, like especially laser and all. It's become so common. So, what is happening? All these small salons, everybody's mushrooming with a lot of laser equipments, doing laser for everybody. And sorry to say, but that's not the right way to do. They use cheap equipments, which are not even FDA approved, do lasers at a very nominal cost, spoil the market, and sometimes because of that, people get scared to go to salons to do aesthetic services because they feel that a normal therapist is doing a laser, but she has no knowledge, and they get burns, and those little things are getting highlighted so much that salons who are genuinely doing the right thing, people are getting scared to go there. So when I thought of putting aesthetics in one of my salon as an experience, I was very, very clear. I am not going to do any nonsense. I will invest in the best of the machines. I will invest in the best of the technicians and also a dermat. So in my salon, a cosmetologist does the services, which a dermat also supervises. So I was very clear, even though it's a laser or what, nobody is going to do anything because I don't want anybody to play with my brand. I've worked very hard to build it over. Yeah. So very, very clear about it.
I'll just add one point here. In case if you are not a doctor or a dermatologist or a skin specialist, you can collab with dermatologist. You can take your appointments. Of course, the client should come with appointments. Let dermatologist be there. Let your technician should be there, and let them do the treatment. I think because the dermat is certified, your person is not certified, but getting trained under that particular person will have a bigger value in the market, and that's how we can resolve this problem gradually. And of course, certification always will have a bigger value.
So, I would like both of you also to focus on this certification bit since we are talking so much about it. What exactly certifies a cosmetologist right now? Like, what kind of person should I hire if I want to offer aesthetic treatments?
Like I mentioned earlier, right now, so far, there's no, I mean, we have organizations like BWSSC and all trying to do stuff for hairdressers and for beauticians, but it's at a nascent stage. I don't think it's like rolled out pan India. They're trying to even introduce it in schools, but it's a while off before it becomes mandatory or necessary. So right now it's still optional, but you do have other courses like for skin, you have Sidesco and stuff like that. So I think it just guarantees a basic strong foundation. I don't think it's okay for aesthetics per se in invasive treatments. But if you look at even brands like Kaya, who started hair removal years ago, right, compared to everybody else much earlier, but they also had aestheticians doing it, but under doctor supervision, like exactly what she's saying.
Cosmetology as a course. So if you take them, they have the basic knowledge and they understand skin, they understand laser removal, they understand readings. So even if a dermat is guiding them, they are able to understand to execute it also. If you just take a normal therapist, so okay, you will teach them, but they are not educated to understand the basic skin analysis. See, we have therapists who understand full skin because that's what also we know. No skin treatments are done without a proper consultation of skin. But this is aesthetics. You're using machines, you're using technology, you are using Botox and fillers are only done by dermats. Especially you are doing laser glow treatment with Q switch. You do laser. These all aestheticians can do. But under the supervision, and a cosmetologist does it much better because she understands it much better.
Right.
There
Yes.
are FDA approvals for the same.
Yeah.
Also, if you are doing such kind of a treatment, any incidents occurs, you can have particular insurance, maybe for your staff or for your client. I think these are the strongest points I think one should take care of when one wants to start such kind of treatments.
Right. JJ, Leena also mentioned that it's best to collaborate with dermatologists on this. So, what is your take on that?
So I'm finding I started off collaborating first because as a stylist or a business owner, you're good at focusing on one thing. You try and do everything, your brand fails. I know what my strengths are. So why am I going to go down the route of training myself to do fillers, Botox, laser? One, I don't have an interest in it. Two, it's going to ruin my brand. So why not collaborate with some of the well-known people in my area within a 30-mile radius and say, I will open up 3 days a month for you in my salon. You come in, we register you and have you insured here during these days. Any of the clients you come in will work under our brand, but then obviously it will be XYZ clinics working from one salons on these days. That way, what happens is from a business point of view is I'm still able to control the quality and the influence of my branding without ruining the reputation. Yeah, of course, it cuts down on my costs, but at the same time, it's a full circle because my clients are going to them, then any of their clients are now coming to us. So overall, it just works. It's win-win for everyone.
So more non-invasive treatments the dermat can recommend for your salons. So like they do a peel. So you can do a maintenance in your salon, they can recommend you. And suppose we have an invasive, some skin allergies or some skin really, and then we can recommend them to a dermat, But in our salon, we have a dermat all the time from say maybe like say 12 to 6. So all the time available. And then if you have repeat clients, so the dermat already knows the things and she just recommends the readings and then the cosmetologist takes it forward. So, but the initial consultation is done by a dermat. I mean, we wouldn't let a cosmetologist take a treatment without a dermat doing it.
Right.
And I think that works out to a win-win for both, for the
Yes.
dermatologist as well as the salon. So it makes sense
Yeah.
to work together than work apart.
Most of the times what we have seen that dermats are blaming beauticians,
Yes.
beauticians are blaming dermats, so they are fighting with each other. But I think we all should respect each other because they are already one step ahead than us. That's why they are dermats and they are licensed. So I think it should be shake hand, always a good thing. And
I don't agree with that, Leena. I don't think they're one step ahead. It's just a different forte that they have and we have a different. So it works for them also to work with us because certain things they will not be interested in doing, which a salon can do.
No, one step ahead means they are doing injectables where we cannot. That's why they are one step
See,
ahead.
dermats have to understand that aesthetics in salon is going to stay. So accept it. And salons have to understand that there is a limit what we can do as aesthetics in the salon and some things have to go to dermat. So coexist.
Yeah. But Nalini, coming to you, is the Indian market right now ready to accept both ways? Because there is still a lot of tug of war that's happening.
I mean, I'm glad to know Renu said that she's put a dermat full time and all that, but I think she must be one of the few
Exactly.
because
exactly,
realistically, it's a while off, I think. But the fact that people like her who are, industry leaders have started it, I'm sure that will be the way forward. I'm sure that will change. It's just people have to feel confident enough that, okay, I'm going to a salon and I can get this service, right? Otherwise, the thinking is salon is for the beauty stuff and literally the cosmetic stuff, but for something very invasive, I will hesitate to go. But if they have that confidence that, okay, there is a dermat and it's happening under dermat supervision and more established brands start doing that, then I think that will change.
Right.
Good practices like consultation, checking skin thoroughly, as he mentioned, knowing anatomy and physiology properly, providing proper home care, whether you sell it or let them buy it from the medical store or any cosmetic shop. I think these are the standard protocols each beautician should follow, or each studio or clinic should follow. I think that's how it will regularize, and government will also understand the depth of our field, and that's how we are also growing this economy, the Indian economy. And because there are certain wrong practices which are happening, and that's why we have been little bit neglected, but now everyone knows that how much we can do. So each one of us, this is our prior importance, or we should give prior importance to this, that learning protocols thoroughly and provide right education even to your client.
Sorry. So one more thing I want to add, when I compare to 20 years ago coming into India and starting teaching aesthetics, right? Lots of people would come to us, prospective students, and they would say, like, so much of science, hum doctor thoi na ban rahe hain, why do we need to know all this? That was used to be the response, that because we used to say you have to know the body from one cell, each system in the body from the inside out. I was like, the skin is very far off, it's the largest, the last organ you'll reach, but you need to know all the rest. But very often there was resistance, including from our company, my director itself saying, Nalini, why are you doing this? Just like skip all that. I'm like, no, I'm not going to skip it. Some things I want to be firm about. And this was one of them saying, you know, for us, the best client, even from a product perspective, is an educated aesthetician, right? So it was very difficult to convince people that they're thick books, and it's like, why do we need to study all this? We should start facials on day one. And they were starting facials on day God knows what. So they couldn't understand why the delay. But we were like, being an American school, there was like, there's a science to it. You don't just start like that. And Americans, of course,
It
take
looks
science
very
to another
easy.
level.
Those massages and stuff
Yes,
looks very
it looks
easy.
very easy, but there's a logic, and it's scientifically, there's a reason why you do. And we always, when we're doing training for people, say, don't learn the facial because we are saying it's this step. You understand the logic of each step, you'll never forget it. You won't have to memorize it. You don't have to learn it by rote. It just scientifically makes sense. Unlike hair and makeup, which is far more creative, skin is very scientific.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's a
Yes.
major difference. Yeah, once an error made will show on your face for a while.
Okay, JJ, coming to you. Starting an aesthetic beauty setup is a huge investment. So it's not everyone's cup of tea. What should be the parameters for a salon to decide that, yes, now I can step into aesthetic beauty?
It's balancing out your current cash flow against the supply and demand. So for the last 4 years, I was doing the collaboration method, where I would rent out spaces in my salon and have accredited, legislated practitioners come in. As I saw the demand growing more and more and more, it was then balancing out, okay, so now we've got those people. Those practitioners have been working with us on and off for 4 years. I built the relationship with them, so I've got the trust. I can see their reputation and I can see their reliability. They're the main things. When, as an employer, you look for in your staff members, right? Now I know they can commit to X amount of days, and I've got a team of 4. I can spread them around the diary and say, I've now got a fully booked week for the next month. Now it makes sense to work out, why not stop collaborating and take over a new premises? I could have had it involved in the current salon. Like, and then we have that issue which you're saying, whereas they'll go there, then they'll go back to their beautician who's going to do a facial and say, actually, no, do it this way. Then they get in a conflict of knowledge. Well, my beautician said this, the clinician said this. No, it's completely separate. So I worked out what the cost would be against my return on investment on a business plan and thought, it's the right time right now to make that investment. I had the property come up to me. I wasn't even looking for the property. It came to me from the person who owns the building by chance, and it's literally 2 doors down. So we have 2 shops, and it separates it. And luckily for me, the person that was in there actually had to leave because they emigrated out of the country. And it was always a beauty and aesthetic shop. So it was perfect for me. The people in our town and city already knew it was a beauty and aesthetic shop. They had a good reputation. So that whole cost and time of building reputation was done already for me. I had the staff members, worked out the finances, and just went ahead with it.
So how long did this entire process take? How many
Honestly.
months? Yeah.
I have a very good team that I do business with. From start to finish, so from having we've always had the idea we wanted to do it, but to actually sit down on the table and say we're going to do this, to here's the property, here's the staff, to opening, we did that in under 4 weeks.
Oh, that short a period. Okay.
But I have a very good team in the background.
Okay.
But I had the advantages. The building was already fully furnished.
Yeah.
The reputation was there. I had the staff members. So what was my main overhead really? The 6 months rent up front on the building and buying the equipment. That was it really. Because the business model I have is nobody that works for me is salaried. Nobody. The model we have there is either rent a station or profit split. So I don't even have the overheads to worry about paying salaries.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I was able to do that in 4 weeks.
Got it. Renu, how does a salon decide that aesthetic beauty is really their cup of tea? Because it's a huge investment.
Yes, it's a huge investment, but I think
Let me tweak that a little
Yeah.
for you. Why does only your Juhu outlet have an aesthetic beauty?
because that's my first experience.
Yes.
So I wanted to start one, experiment it, because see, as a salon, we are growing. So I wanted to grow also in the skin field. Lot of avenues open. Lot of once I wanted to make a one-stop solution for my clients. There are a lot of people who are looking out for quick treatments. With the not much time to spend, and they want especially a glow immediately. So they are all looking at these aesthetic things. So it's a and with social media making such a big thing, so everybody is looking out for that. So I started one. I had space in Jew. It's a premium place, so I wanted to experiment that. Yeah, it's a fit with the clientele. So I wanted to experiment that how it is. So it was slightly difficult right in the start for us to make clients understand that in salon we can provide aesthetic services. It took us some time. 1 year. So it's 1 year only we've opened. But yes, they had confidence when we had a doormat there. So they were aware that a right person is consulting them. And it's not like, I told you a lot of salons have just people, therapists doing lasers and all that. So they felt that they have a proper doormat setup, providing them proper consultation and proper good FDA approved machines to give them services. So we have the same machines which a world class dermat have with them. So we
Yes.
have not compromised on them. So for us, it was that either we start it right and build it up, or don't start it. And I didn't want to compromise on anything. So that's how. But yes, it's a huge investment. But yes, we need to do somewhere to grow somewhere. So it's a good investment.
Absolutely. Nalini, speaking of investing into aesthetic beauty, is this part of something you teach also to aspiring aestheticians?
I don't think it's something we teach about investments, no. But I think what we do say is like what Renu's saying, that all these avenues are there, these options are there. So it depends on how much you want to try and put your salon out there, because like we're saying, the consumers have so much exposure now, right? So they are very aware of what the latest trends are, and also if you want to be part of that industry and part of the growing trends and things, then you have to up your game. But you have to up your game in the right way. And I think one more thing I'd like to add is, one is you get the best machines or the good machines, and you must make sure they're backed by service, by training, because that's very important. Because everybody sells a laser, but everybody's laser can be different. So you have to make sure the brand you're buying from also supports you in terms of training and after sales service, because that will also make a difference to your business.
Absolutely. Leena? in terms of the kind of investment that is required in aesthetic beauty, is there any guidance that you give your students or
Yeah.
consultants?
Yes, we do give, because that is included in our syllabus, as I have accreditation of CDESCO CIPTAC. So we have business studies and professional ethics. That's a topic which is included in our all the modules. So we always teach them. We always invite different suppliers and manufacturers and the product manufacturers, and we can always guide them what to buy, how to use, what are the indications and contraindication you must see. And definitely on the investment part, initially according to that particular student's capacity or the financial aspects, how one can purchase the machine. And some protocols behind it also, the installment facilities. There are certain banks who are providing loans, even the basic loan amount, let's say 2 lakh, 3 lakhs, up to 3 lakhs. So we also invite those banks to our academy who can guide them on the loan facility always, because it becomes easy for the candidate also. So I think, and one more important aspect, giving clarity on each and everything and creating confidence on having such business module, I think that is again a key to success. So which has to be included in the training part.
Right. JJ, how do you market your beauty aesthetic beauty business?
So a lot of my marketing is a lot more organic, a lot of word of mouth. That's the best business model there is, because when the client walks out the door, they are my walking, talking business card. Yeah. The other thing you find is, like you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of salons that are using the cost-cutting method. I don't believe in cutting costs. You charge what your value is. That way, yes, I may be losing out on 20% of the market. Like I'm earning the same money. My staff are doing 20% less work for the same revenue. It frees them up to do social media posts, create content, but also the 20% less clients that are coming in, count the 80% that do come in. They're the ones that have the more spending ability. Stereotypically, they're the more affluent sort of clientele that when they're going to their Sunday yacht clubs, etc., they're talking amongst themselves. They are my brand ambassadors without having to pay them. So why not use that method?
What about you, Renu? How are you marketing your...
What he spoke is right. Our clients are our brand ambassadors. A lot of referrals. See, I used to do laser treatment. So a client used to come and tell me, no, those salons are providing it so less, this, that, and all that. So I said, see, I know what machines I'm using. I'm giving you this brand. Just see, Google it. You'll find what quality of machines is this. Try it. You're not happy, I'll return my money back. You return, I'll take it by this. I have no issues. I will pay your money back. Just try it. Once tried, I know my machines can deliver or my staff can deliver the result, which is much better than what is the other people are delivering. So once it's done, and then they are customers forever. Yeah.
Have you ever faced any opposition from any medical or dermatology association for maybe running a certain ads or
No,
nothing?
because see, there are certain services which are allowed in salons to be done without going into that section.
Right.
So non-invasive services, laser, Q-switch, HIFU, all these are services which can be done at the salon level. So no, we are not going into any invasives. Yeah, that also you can do but you should have a certified dermat there. So you can do Botox, fillers, threads, PRP, everything, but with a certified licensed dermat.
Right.
So all these are there. So once you take care of all the protocol, you don't need to worry.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful panel and we have had a great discussion about this. I'm sure we have encouraged the audience to think on those lines now, because this is the future. Aesthetic beauty is the future, and sooner we learn to tackle it in a right manner, the better it is for the industry. So great.
Believe that in salon, aesthetics are going to stay.
Absolutely. Yes. They should make their peace with it.
Yes, they have to make
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists here? I have time for one quick question. Anyone from the audience wants to ask a question about aesthetic beauty in the salon industry? Yes.
This question is for all the three has to answer. The question is how much ever precautions we are going to take, even if a doctor is there are bound to be challenges which is going to happen. When a doctor attends, it becomes one-off. When a brand attends, it becomes a brand problem. How, as a brand, you think we should handle it?
So I am not very sure if I've understood your question well, but I think problems, be it aesthetics, be it skin, be it anything, can come into the brand. Even though the best of the hairdressers can make a mistake, and a brand has to learn to handle it. Same thing, even a aesthetics who's doing skin treatments can do something wrong, and there can be an issue. So it's the same thing. Even the best of the dermats you go to can make mistakes. So there's nothing different in doing this. But
Yeah, but
yes,
there is a difference, as Nalini rightly said, hair is dead. I can make a
But
mistake,
in
I can
skin-
get away with that. Skin is scientific. So you said so
we,
well, Nalini.
We
you
do
said
take lot
the-
of insurances, which is the best thing to do nowadays, because every customer today gives you, I will go to consumer forum, be it right or be it wrong. So the best thing is for you to safeguard yourself by taking a good amount of insurance, so that if something happens, you're covered. But we do
we'll
our
take it
best
offline.
to make sure that things don't come like this with the best of educations. But yes, human beings are the ones who are doing it. So you have to have that sort of things.
Here, I also would like to add one thing. Like when you go for any operation, any small surgery, just even a stitches, you take consent letter. I think insurance is the biggest thing which I already have done at my salon, but you can take consent form, or you can fill that form from that particular person. And if she is not adult, then take their parents or guardian signature. This is one protocol. Second protocol, even by doing a bleach, sometimes you get harsh irritation on the skin, and that's how, even with the help of doctors, we are healing it. And certain medications, even you can write it on the letterhead and give it to your clients. So I think these are the particular measures I feel strongly that we can take care of. Otherwise, as Renu said correctly, something or the other mistake can happen, but we must take proper measure for it.
But consent forms, I think, forget about aesthetics. When we do skin treatments, when we do hair treatments, when
Everywhere.
we do hair color, we all take consent. We do a consultation form, take a signature from the client, because ex-client can anytime say, I'm sorry, I never okayed it. So that is the basic protocol for any service.
Fortunately, we're not as bad as some things that happen in America. It's a wrong haircut and they sue you. So comparatively, we're better off.
Thank you so much. Thank you, speakers. And with that, we bring this panel to a conclusion. I would request Renu to step forward for a memento. Please come this side. Thank you so much for being such a fantastic audience. Let's have a round of applause for yourselves. And I will see you tomorrow, same time. We start our day at 11:15 and we have a marvelous lineup tomorrow as well. Tomorrow we'll be talking about client servicing, client retention and marketing. The marketing panel is a longer and a bigger one where all niches, different niches of marketing for salons will be looked into. So I'll see you here. I request all the delegates who have come in just for today to collect your certificates from my colleague outside. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. You've been a lovely audience.